First of all, I apologize if I sound a little blah. I did work today. In fact, they had me almost in most of the places I think that were on, I guess you could say, high alert, kind of high, protocol, if you will. So, yeah, I do sound a little tired. And also, as you just heard there, I also apologize for any vibrational noises you might hear, the little booms and stuff like that, or what you just heard there. Those are going to be like notifications, text, from texts and emails and stuff like that because I am recording this audio on my phone. But be that as it may, I wanted to come on here, get some content out for you guys today, tonight, here on the 11th, I think. I think that's what it is today, the 11th. Yeah, the 11th of December, hard to believe, 2024. I want to give you my thoughts on what's been going on recently in the Stripes and Links story that Eric W. Schwartz has put out for Sabrina Online. Now, in case you guys haven't been, caught up to what's going on, especially if you're fans of, the world of Sabrina Online and fans of characters of Sabrina and Zig-Zag, mostly Zig-Zag and so on. Well, long story short, to kind of summarize, Zig-Zag has always been known to be very openly affectionate towards friends, very close friends, and those that she would consider like family. Well, she ended up doing something that now she has to get some answers as to why she does it. Long story short, again, to summarize, she was out, she was basically having a ladies' night out, a girls' night out, if you will, with Endora, who is Sabrina's mom. And they were both drinking. Obviously, they were both kind of getting buzzed, Zig-Zag more than Endora. And Endora asked her about, whether or not someone like her could be, would still be attractive or something like that. And Zig-Zag answered in her own honest way of, yeah, you're still attractive. You're still a hot mama and all that, or something like that. And what did she do to kind of, I guess, confirm this? Because she was a little bit buzzed more so than Endora. She ended up kissing Endora. And it's kind of shocked, Endora, kind of like, she just was left in a stupor. And she decided that she was going to have her husband, Sabrina's father, pick her up from the bar instead of taking an Uber or a Lyft with Zig-Zag back to her place. Basically, Zig-Zag would have the Uber Lyft driver drop off Endora, and then Zig-Zag would go home. So anyway, Zig-Zag basically, even in her buzzed, near drunken state, but buzzed state, realizes she kind of blew it. And she tries her best to, do what she can to make up for it. She even tries to talk to them. They don't want to talk about it. She even tries to go to Sabrina, and Sabrina wants to know, okay, what did you do? What happened? And Zig-Zag is straight out honest with her, and she even demonstrates the kind of reaction she would have expected from Endora by kissing, Sabrina. And Sabrina is known for basically pushing her off by going like, hey, knock it off, don't do that. And Zig-Zag is like, see, that's the kind of reaction I was expecting, that I'm used to from someone that, doesn't want me kissing them and showing affection openly. So again, to summarize things, Zig-Zag wants to try to get some answers. So she goes and sees this psychiatrist friend, who's also a friend with benefits, who's based off Eric himself, apparently, to, get some answers, or at least get some ideas of how she can get these answers. And he does give her the ideas, does give her some advice, and they do kind of do the thing with each other because, again, he's a psychiatrist friend, aka, or quote unquote, with benefits. He's a psychiatrist friend, aka psychiatrist friend with benefits. That's what I was trying to say. So she instead decides that she's gonna, take time off away from the studio. She puts Sabrina in charge of the studio while she's gone, and she takes Tina, who is her bisexual on and off again girlfriend, if you will, with her on this road trip to get some answers. Now, she does try to kind of, I guess you could say, zigzag, that is. She does try to kind of try to keep a low profile because of how, I guess you could say, famous she is or well known she is for what she does. She tries to keep a low profile, does seem to succeed, a bit. Her and Tina do, reminisce of when they first met, on how Tina was the one that discovered Zig-Zag, and basically that led to, Zig-Zag going from being a pole stripper at 18 years of age, and going on to, be part of an adult film studio that was run by a sleazebag, somebody that didn't care about the opinions of the actors and actresses that were going out there on camera, and just doing the same old stuff over and over, basically getting it on with each other in the same way time and time again. And Zig-Zag wanted to try something different. She wanted to try something different. Tina, of course, in the flashbacks were kind of like iffy about it. And Zig-Zag, is able to convince her, hey, we don't know. Basically, in the flashback, Zig-Zag convinces Tina, in her own, hey, we won't know until we try kind of method. And the end results were basically, for them taking that risk, was successful and profitable, even to this day in the story. And yeah, they do kind of get it on with each other at a hotel that they stay at. And that's also how they kind of became close and everything, when Tina came and recruited Zig-Zag and all that. Zig-Zag, when she was a pole stripper in the flashback, would always be known to basically be like, hey, if you pay me $100, me and the other girl's like $100 an hour or something like that, or a certain amount of money for a certain amount of time, you're going to have a good time, if you kind of catch my drift on what, she means by that. And when Tina first sees her, or when she first meets Tina in the flashback, she's kind of surprised that, oh, wait, it's a girl, not a guy. Well, it's always new. It's always the first time for everything, right? And Tina's like, whoa, that's not exactly why I'm here. And, she goes on to explain, the offer she wants to give to, Zig-Zag. And Zig-Zag takes her up on it, not even a week after, or not even 24 hours after. And basically, as a result, they do get it on, because Tina's like, hey, hey, I'm not going to, waste an opportunity that's being offered, originally. So let's do the thing. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it leads to Zig-Zag working for the scum of a boss who just wants to keep things the way he wants it done. And Zig-Zag's more like, hey, I want to go out there. I want to explore. I want to do things that will push limits, that will go in directions that nobody has ever gone in yet. So, again, needless to say, it worked out for them in the end, and it worked out for them profitably in the end. But anyway, like I said, she leaves Sabrina in charge of the studio. Now, Sabrina, after kind of getting it straight from Zig-Zag and knowing Zig-Zag is being honest, because if there's one thing Sabrina knows about Zig-Zag is, she's always going to be straight up with her. She's not going to hide anything. She's going to be straight up. And Sabrina is trying her best to get answers from her parents. I mean, Sabrina even rambles on a little bit of how Zig-Zag has kissed her on several occasions, almost kind of putting her foot in her mouth and all that. But still, basically she's trying to get some answers. And she gets some advice from her husband, Richard, RC, if you will, to kind of take it slow. And, kind of make it, instead of being demanding, because at first she's trying to basically be very demanding towards her mom, or at least outright, asking her mom, hey, Zig-Zag told me everything. Why won't you just tell me? Just tell me what's going on. Why are you acting like this? Why were you shocked? Why didn't you do something? You know, she's being more. She was being more like demanding, more bossy. About wanting to get about wanting to have an answer. Mom did not want to talk about it and everything. So again, her husband Richard advises, hey, why don't you take it easy and take the more approachable route and just casually try to build up to it. Be more, basically he's telling her, hey, don't be so hard. Don't be so outright. Just be more casual, like more peaceful. And he basically says that when Sabrina asks him, well, where'd you kind of get this kind of advice from? And he tells her, oh, I get it from my parents. Because that's how they avoid confrontation, by being unconfrontational and just casually building to that moment, trying to, kind of like have a discussion to where during the discussion you just kind of slowly bring it up and try to drag it out casually and not so, confrontationally, if you will. Anyway, again, she's left in charge. While she's doing this, she's also left in charge of Double Z Studios. Hold on for a sec, guys. Hold on for a sec. Like I was saying, she's left in charge of the Double Z Studios and everything. And she's basically thinking, oh, it's going to be easy and all that, until she finds out that she's got to make certain decisions, or at least sign off on stuff. And basically, it's not that hard. In the most recent chapter, one of the more recent chapters, she's like, hey, it doesn't feel like it was that hard to do. Just had to agree, just had to sign off on things, kind of maybe talk things over, stuff like that. And, needless to say, the staff does try to get one over on her. Sheila Vixen, who's a very popular star, a very popular character in the Sabrina Online and For After Dark world of Eric W. Shorts, tries to have her sign off on something that doesn't seem very, like, I guess you could say reasonable, or something that even Zig-Zag would write off on. And Sheila basically, when she sees that Sabrina's not buying any of what she says, turns around and yells to the others, guys, forget about doing certain things or trying to get certain amendments and all that. Sabrina ain't buying it. So anyway, like I said, Sabrina figures first day wasn't bad. First day of who knows how long, a week or whatever, isn't so bad. So she goes home and everything, and she asks if there's anything else they need. Or before she leaves, and ask if any of the actors and actresses, like the skunk wives, if you will, Stacy and Tracy, if they need anything. And they say, oh no, we just got to do a few reshoots and then we're out. So yeah, Sabrina leaves, and then we get to the more recent chapter, to where basically we're finally introduced to, I'm assuming, Zig-Zag siblings, that being Brandon and Brandy. Now, at first, when I saw this, I'm thinking, oh, they're married, right? They got to be married. But Zig-Zag, mentions that, they're her little brother and sister. And it seems that Brandon is very, I wouldn't say apprehensive towards her right now, but you could definitely feel like something is there that he, basically makes him not want to be associated. Because Brandy's all for like, oh my gosh, you're here, we got to catch up, we got to talk. And Brandon's more like, I don't want her here and everything. She is not welcomed. It's like there's something there, and obviously they're going to dig into that later on. But yeah, she is. But yeah, Brandy obviously is happy to see her, but not Brandon. Now, obviously, we're all going to see the grandparents soon. And I think the grandparents are going to be the key as to what is going on, at least the grandmother, that is. And maybe even the parents, but we'll have to see. But yeah, we do get introduced to her family now for the first time, I think, ever. And Brandon kind of looks like Sabrina when you really think about it. It looks like a male Sabrina And that could be telling in its own right. Well, Brandy, she kind of looks like basically a blend. Basically she does kind of look like a regular skunk, but more dark but with more dark coloring than white coloring, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. But yeah, basically, like I said, she's happy to see her, but not Brandon. And again, that's going to be very telling. And I think in the coming weeks we're going to find out more. And I think we will see that there might be a connection, because again, Brandon does look a little like Sabrina and everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if either Zig-Zag brings it up, or maybe the grandparents, maybe even Tina, if Tina's there, brings it up and says, you know what, Brandon, you look a lot like Sabrina a bit. So there might be something there. We don't really know. We'll have to see. But yeah, the story so far is really good. I'm really digging it. And right now, as far as I know, it is clocked in. As far as I know, it is clocked in at 38 pages, which I think makes it one of the longest, if not the longest, stories out there. Not out there, but one of the longest stories that Eric W. Schwartz has ever done. So yeah, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be an interesting read going forward. We'll see, basically we'll get to see the, interactions between the siblings, maybe, again, find out what the reasoning is between Brandon not being happy to see his sister and Brandy being the opposite. We'll have to see. And everything. And I've got a feeling before this year is out, in the next few weeks, we're going to get an answer. Because I don't think Eric W. Schwartz is just going to end the new year without giving us some kind of cliffhanger, to hold on to going into 2025. He's got to give us something. So overall, I like what I see. Again, I still stand by the fact that I think there is something in Endora's past, to where she has done things similar to Zig-Zag, but she's too ashamed of it, and she's trying to move forward from it, and try to bury it. And I also think if it's not just that, there might be a connection. Like Endora might know, Zig-Zag's family, but we won't find out until maybe later on. Maybe there's a connection. We don't know. I also still stick by the fact that we will get a Fur After Dark story between Zig-Zag and Endora, and them getting it on just to, get it out of Endora's system, because I think that's part of why Endora's acting the way she is, because she doesn't want to admit that, not only was she stunned by it and speechless, but it's awakened something in her that maybe she's kept hidden. So, well, I still feel we're going to get something like that as well. And, who knows? Maybe we'll get something more along the lines of it, maybe in a threesome, maybe with the mother or the grandmother of Zig-Zag, who might know Endora, and maybe something comes from that. We'll have to see. But overall, I like what I'm seeing, and I highly recommend reading these stories when they come out weekly on SabrinaOnline.com. If not, and you want to see them early, check them out on Patreon. Of course, you're going to probably see it early here with this review. Currently, this updated review so far at the updated discussion so far, I should say, of the story. You'll probably see it anyway. But overall, again, not too bad. Like what I'm seeing. And yeah, that's all I can really say. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the links in the description to check out my content elsewhere. You can go to my Teespring store to get yourself a gift or a friend a gift for the holidays. Merchandise there you can't get anywhere else. Also check me out at divanart.com at BVW1979. But guys, yeah, overall, like I said, I'm liking this. and it's one of the longest stories so far that Eric has done. I think he's been wanting to do this for a while, and I think that we're going to get an extension of this in Fur After Dark in FAD. I think we're going to get an extension of it, and yeah, I think that extension is going to involve Endora and Zig-Zag. I really do, maybe even more, but we'll see. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below, and until next time, I am out. Take care.